Hello, so once again I'm out here in the garage running the RX6800. This is an MSI Gaming X Trio and I'm running Timespy Extreme here, which is the 4K one. I've got a new CPU and motherboard which you won't have seen yet. I've had it a couple of weeks now, which is the Asus Rampage 6 Extreme Encore. This board only supports 3-way SLI, so it's not great. It also has the power and reset button on the bottom here. Getting some pretty crazy stuttering at the start of the benchmark for some reason. It's pretty annoying. Now, I have tested this GPU before with the 5900X, which you might not have seen because probably didn't record it. But I'm trying to get a better score in Timespy and Timespy Extreme, because I have in this board the i9-10980XE, which is an 18-core CPU running at 4.9 GHz. Got the Patriot Viper Steel memory, 2 kits of that, running at 4000 C14. So it's a pretty quick setup. Yeah, it should score around 11 to 12,000 on the CPU test. Not sure about the overall score, we'll have to see. But yeah, this CPU is quite a monster. It took me quite a while to tame it. Temperature wise, it's pretty crazy. I can run about 1.3 volts maximum. Fortunately, I can't get it to run at 5 GHz, so I'm stuck to 4.9. And it still gets to almost 80 degrees, even in the Timespy physics test, which you'll see in a minute, the CPU test. So I've got more power tool on the GPU as well. I've got it set to I think 320 watts and the standard is like 230ish plus 15% obviously in your Wattman. Another thing, this board doesn't have any PS2 ports, so that's a bit annoying. Can't plug my keyboard in, I'm having to use a USB one. It does have Wi-Fi though, which is quite nice. It does have the biggest VRM in the universe. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's like 16 phases or something crazy. It still gets hot though. I've still got the little fan down there on it to keep it cool. It does have its own fans underneath this cover here. It has 2 little fans, but they don't do a very good job, so this small fan here does a bit of a better job at keeping everything in that area cool. It has dual 8-pin connectors obviously, and you kind of need them with this CPU. Pulls about I think 450 watts just on the CPU by itself, so it is pretty beefy. Although I could have probably got a 5950X and shoved it in my current boards and it'd been okay, but you know, I wanted a new platform to play with. I wanted X299 for a while. I didn't want this board exactly, I wanted a X299 Dark or Apex because they both support 4-way SLI, but this came up for sale at a good price with the CPU as a combo, so I got both of those off one of my team. You can see it's still reaching 74 degrees on the CPU. The GPU is only at 41, which is pretty chilly, but obviously I'm in the garage, so it's not exactly warm in here. Look at the score, 7,300 in the graphics score, 11,800 in the CPU test. I think previously with the 5900X, which is obviously an AMD CPU, yeah, this is my previous score here, which I've just got up on my phone, so you can see 7,900 overall. We're already at 7,800, and CPU score was over 9,000, but obviously this is at 11,000, which is quite a bit higher. The camera will focus. And the GPU frequency before was, if it will focus on that, 2558, and I'm only at 2300 so far, so got a bit of a way to go yet. So this is the stutter at the start of the benchmark that it does. It doesn't do this on an AMD system. Would have been nice if you could have seen the FPS counter there. It's fine once it gets going, but those first couple of seconds it's stuttering like crazy. Now the other thing is as well, the score seems to have got stuck for the GPU, like 7,500. I've got no idea why. Because even if I overclock the GPU more, it doesn't actually score any higher. And you wouldn't have thought a 10980XE will bottleneck an RX6800, especially at 4K when it's only doing 50 FPS like this. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Right, hopefully you'll see the stutter here again, the start of GT2. See, it's almost like I'm running Crossfire, because it does a bit of stuttering like that when you've got Crossfire on, but obviously I'm only running one card, so don't really know why that's happening. I am on the latest driver, well not the latest one, but I think it's 21.8.2, a bit of artifacts in there. So that is the same driver that I've used on the 6900 XT before. Obviously it works on this card as well. It should actually improve the Firestrike score if anything. So I don't know why it's performing so badly. You can see the clocks it was running at here throughout the benchmark. $42. Yeah, it's only scoring 7,500 on the GPU, and you can see it's only in the CPU test where the CPU's getting a lot of temperature and load on it. You can see the power draws going up to 230, but then it's coming back down again, so it's almost like the GPU's somehow throttling, and I wish my camera had stopped doing that stupid derpy thing with the focus. There we go. Right. These are the settings I'm using in Whatman. So, interestingly, look at the GPU load during the benchmark. You can see it's not a 99% all the time, it even dips to 75% and 80% while it's doing the test. It's almost like the CPU can't keep up, which is very strange with a 10980XE. However, I've managed to get the GPU score up to 7,698 now, so I guess that's good, but still not even enough to get second place on hardware bot, and I'm currently already in third, so kinda sucks. So I'm on a completely fresh install of Windows now, so I'm going to see if it stutters at the start. No, it doesn't. It's perfectly fine now. So we'll see how it performs. I've got a overclock on it. I've put 2500 max, 2300 min, with a memory at 2040 on fast timings. Obviously the fan's at 100%. I haven't put more power tool on it yet, but just looking at the FPS it's looking better already, so I've no idea what was wrong with the other OS, but it was limiting it to like 7,500 all the time points, so we'll see what we get with this complete fresh Windows install, so hopefully it goes alright. This is ridiculous. Literally all I've done is reinstall Windows, and I've got 200 extra points on the CPU and like 1,000 more on the GPU. What the hell? Got no idea what's happening there. I'm even using the same driver and everything as well, look. 21.10.2. Right, this is without more power tool, it's running like 2400-ish. So yeah, this is much better now. So because it's so long since I've done a video, I forgot to film the rest of the process here, so that was a bit of a fail, but whatever. So this is the final score we got in Timespy Extreme. Managed to get over 12,000 on the CPU and 8,679 on the graphics, which gave us just over 9,000 overall. I think that's 4th place on the Timespy Extreme ranking with the RX6800. The guy who was in 1st place had over 9,000 just on the GPU alone. I assume he was using an EVC to boost the voltage up a bit so he can get more megahertz out of it. My card was peaking at 2482 and 2140 on the memory. That's with the fast timings. It does run pretty quick at 2080 on the memory with the fast timings as well. But it scored 9,048 overall, and they scored 9,057, so it's a little bit quicker. The CPU was getting pretty warm. If I scroll down a bit, yeah, you can see it was getting up to 94 degrees. That's because the water block is basically blocked from the dirt that's in the water over there in the cool box, because it's not exactly sealed. It's not an active cool box, it is literally just a cool box, like it's just insulated basically. That's all. The water inside is the ambient temperature of the garage. So yeah, it was 77 when I started, and it probably would have maxed out with the water temperature normalization. I don't know, probably around 85. I don't think it would have got to 90, but it got to 94. And that again was at 2000 C14 on the memory and 4.9 on the CPU at 1.3 volts, and that's on 18 cores and 36 threads. So I also ran the normal Timespy, and you can see here I got over 18,000, just over 18,000 on the GPU and 17,900 on the CPU. And with the normal Timespy rather than Timespy Extreme, it can only use up to like 16 cores and 16 threads, so running 1836 is actually a bit of a disadvantage. So what I did was I disabled the hyper-threading, and there you can see I ran 18 cores, 18 threads, and look at the difference in the CPU score. Went from like 17,900 to over 20,000, even though we've got less threads. We have got 100 more megahertz. It can do 5 gigahertz at 1.32 volts there, and that got me an extra 300 points overall. The GPU score was a little bit higher as well, and temperature wise you can see it was again hitting 95C, and again that is because the CPU water block is kind of blocked up, so I need to clean that out really. But yeah, pretty decent scores with a single 6800. I might do a Crossfire 6800 because I've still got 2 of those, got the reference one as well, and then I'll try with the 6900 XT with this CPU. I don't have 2 6900 XTs anymore, I only have 1. So I can only do single card for that, but I'm sure we'll still get some pretty crazy scores. So we'll see how that goes with the new OS. Hopefully it'll keep in this condition, not deteriorate to the point like the other one did, because that was terrible. Anyway, that's it for this one. Single GPU. Might do a dual GPU and a 6900 XT video, so watch out for that. Goodbye.